Hello everybody, my name is Games, welcome back to another yapping session. This one is going to be 10 minutes long, it's going to be put into 2x speed, and today we're going to be yapping out literally whatever comes to my mind, and specifically this time it's going to be about Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk has been in my brain, especially with the playthrough of Phantom Liberty going on right now. First off, I know a lot about Cyberpunk and the lore. I'm currently deep diving into almost all of the game books to try and create some characters and to really feel out all the systems and so on, and all the lore that's being revealed for Cyberpunk Red and Cyberpunk 2020, 2013. And some of the other books and so on, like the Chrome module books, the like Black Hand weapon things, the night market stuff, all sorts of other stuff. That's what I've been really digging into, and it really helps, especially whenever I'm playing through 2077 Phantom Liberty, because I get to drop a bunch of lore on you guys while playing, and I think that's really cool. I also get to edit in little tiny cool clips for that as well. And one of the biggest things, here's another really big thing, with the lore of Cyberpunk is cyberpsychosis. I don't believe cyberpsychosis is real. I believe that the effect of a person going crazy is real, but cyberpsychosis, because it's putting too much strain on the brain and it causes you to like haywire and hallucinate and all this other stuff. I don't think that that's what's happening. We see in Edge Runners with Maine that whenever he goes through cyberpsychosis, what's happening is he like will hallucinate to before he was all chromed up and so on. And we know that that's stuff that happens in real life. Flashbacks happen all of the time in real life. And I think that that's one of the things that was happening with Maine, was that he was experiencing a flashback due to the strain of his surroundings, not the chrome. While yes, there was some malfunctioning in his optics, I think that that was more of just a visual thing, that he wasn't taking care of himself. And because of that, his cyber optics were like degrading and his visual started like downsizing and so on. Because think about it this way. If you have predispositions to things like mania, psychopathy, sociopathy, or even other things such as schizophrenia, not to say that schizophrenia is violent, but things that can be used as outlets for violence, and then you strap mantis blades that are 40-inch blades into your forearms that you can use at any point whatsoever, chances are somebody's going to go crazy and chop a bunch of people because of the hyper-capitalist fucking mega-corporation society that's crushing you at every turn. That, yeah, you're just going to crack because you don't have the proper support systems, the proper infrastructure, and everything around you to, like, help you. And that's what was going on with Maine. For Maine, it lasted a little bit longer, and I think one of the biggest things to lend to this theory is that it doesn't happen with Atom Smasher, it doesn't happen with V, and it happens with David, but only really late into the game. But you know what I mean, as in the game of life. And I think that's because whenever he uses, like, neuroblockers, what's going on is that that's probably something that calms the brain, and also serves as an anti-inflammatory and other things for, like, the actual cybernetics to work into with the system. Because the whole idea that it's putting too much strain on the brain doesn't really make sense, because there's a lot of computational equipment in even the most basic of cyberware. Why would it put strain on the brain when, if you got rid of your arms and now had brand new arms, there's processors in that are doing work to take load off of the brain? Even if it's cheap cyberware, there's still good stuff in there to, like, take load off of the brain or do part of the job for the brain. And even if it didn't, the brain will just adapt. Like, the brain adapts to having it cut in half and so on and still function. Having a load of, like, oh, I got new limbs that have super strength now and can take down an entire building, it'll be able to handle that. Like, look at Atom Smasher. Atom Smasher is literally just a brain. He is 99.4% Borg. And he is a brain, and I think, like, maybe a little bit of a heart or a bit of a nervous system, and potentially, I think it was mentioned that he has his dick or something. But other than that, I mean, with there's Mr. Studs around, you don't really need that. Well, I think you need to use that as a baseline. But anyway, one of the reasons for that is that he doesn't have constantly having neurodampeners and omega blockers going into him constantly 24/7. And I think that omega blockers definitely do help, like, to relieve the stress off of the physical body for, like, fatigue and so on, and before it gets properly adapted, similar to the real world where people adapt over time to having a new prosthesis. I think that that's what happens whenever you take omega blockers in the cyberpunk world. Other than that, there's a lot of evidence that I've seen that cyberpsychosis in the way that we believe just doesn't really work. And it also fits the narrative. It's a scare tactic. It is pure, like, propaganda to dehumanize the other, to not feel bad about putting them down, and to also not be held responsible for lack of proper infrastructure and mental health organizations to help with the load of this hyper mega corporation society that fucks everyone over, including other corps. Which is good, but obviously not the fucking over the everyday person, but, like, the hubris of, hey, this is what you get, sort of thing. Like, it's just nuts. It fucks them up really, really bad. And when you don't have something like V, who had Jackie, who had Johnny, who had as much of a support group as, or support pillar of morality or whatever that Johnny could have been, But you also have people like Rogue or Panam or Judy or all these other people. Those are people that keeps V grounded. And I know there's also the whole thing that I think was talked about by Mike Pondsmith, that the Relic was helping take strain off to prevent cyberpsychosis by like having the two brains and so on. I think that that's definitely part of it, but there's also the part that V1 felt different, but also just all the people he could actively rely on. When it came to David, who did he have? He had Lucy, sure, yeah, but Lucy became way more like passive and then had her own shit going on. And then Main's crew, like, yeah, there was Main's crew that he was taking care of, and like Rebecca and so on, but he had all this predisposition to like violence and so on because of growing up as a street kid and also having quite the kind of lack of not moral guidance, but just kind of being fucked up, especially for someone that enjoys brain dances and BDs that are explicit, and he's like, oh yeah, these are good. Like, it kind of shows you he's a little fucked up. I've seen some people not understand that he's not playing a video game. He's basically watching Live Leak VR or in your brain. Fall asleep watching Live Leak wired into your brain. That's what he's watching. That's what the XBDs are. Like, it's kind of crazy. That's what David was used to. And it makes sense as like a form of escapism in the cyberpunk universe. But, yeah. To end off here, as we approach the 10-minute mark, I still don't think that cyberpsychosis is real. And I'm certainly looking forward to seeing more of stuff, because I know that there's that cyberpsychosis thing now in 2.0, but you can always mitigate that. There is stuff in-game to mitigate that. And it's never like the original owner of the Sandevistan bad, or David bad, and like Cyberskeleton giving him an ego boost and God complex as he's having a mental breakdown, you know? But as always, if you enjoyed, leave a like down below, and if you want to see more and hear more of me yapping, hit subscribe and hit the bell to be notified. I'm definitely going to be doing more of these because these are really, really, really fun. And see ya.